Hello, hello, Cosmic Fam. It is Mercedes and Ian. We are back. Cosmic adulting, being awesome, living our best lives. Actually, I can only speak for myself. Yeah. Anyways, we are here bringing you the cosmic goodness as always. Um, we're going to be talking about something that is upcoming, or maybe at the time of this recording, it's going to be happening. I don't know. I'm not an astrologer. Saturn is going into Pisces. This is like a pretty freaking big event. Like, if you know anything about Saturn, Saturn is like the teacher. It's like freaking like learn your shit. Let's go. So good luck, everyone. But we are going to be giving you guidance. Don't worry. Don't worry. It is coming.
That is. Hello from my end as well. The other side of the cosmic adults. And it is. We are doing, guys, we're doing a Saturn and Pisces, let's say, special episode for you guys because it is a big deal, like Mercedes said. It's a long transit. It's 2.5 years and it's changing signs in March 2023. So, but because it's such a big deal, we wanted to kind of prepare yourself for this because it will affect everybody. We will feel it. We'll definitely feel it. Some more than others. And we wanted to give this preparation to you so you can, start making some plans and organize yourself because Saturn is also about organizing. So let's dig in. I can give the dates as well. I think if I find them, of course
Yeah.
I could
So
find
get
them.
your calendars out
Yeah.
because you're going to need this. Like, oh, man.
So
Yep.
from the 8th of March, Saturn 2023, sorry guys, is entering the sign of Pisces from the sign of Aquarius, and we're talking about tropical astrology right now, more Western, more modern type astrology. If you're doing sidereal, it's a different ball game, but right now, tropical Saturn is entering Pisces 8th of March, and it's coming out there 14th of February 2026. Now, there's something to be said about Saturn's already short stint in Aries during 2025, but that's a short stint there. So we are going to be doing right now focusing on only Saturn Pisces, and when Saturn finally finalizes in 2026 its stint in Pisces, we might do Aries predictions as well, but that's ways away. Oh, sorry, we might do Saturn in Aries predictions as well. So, let's. Do you have anything else to kind of add, or no? Okay.
I am learning right now. I'm a student.
So, guys, when we're talking about Saturn, we mentioned a couple of key words already. Mercedes said basically there's a lot to do, like getting your shit done. And now, as we're moving into predictions, it's a lot about getting your shit together and done in those areas that we're going to mention as well. So, wherever Saturn enters, it's a place of duty, responsibility, sometimes blockages, hard work as well. And it's a lot about putting in the efforts without really immediately getting the results or the fruits of your labor. The fruits of the labor usually with Saturn come later. Usually the bulk of it will come after that transit is done. And it's also, I want to mention a couple of keywords as well with Saturn. It's about mastery of something, slowly and vigilantly becoming a master of something. Again, we're going to mention the areas, and it's sometimes and very often times even limiting. So wherever it goes, whatever area in your life it goes, it can limit some of that. Maybe you can't move or do as much. Maybe your career is a little bit stuck or limited and needs more effort. These are the places we're going to dive into in a second. And patience is also, I think, some one of the words that's really important with Saturn, because there can't really be any rushing with Saturn. Saturn that takes time, requires patience. So remember that as well as we go through the zodiacal signs
I
here. Yeah, go ahead.
would like to cut in here and just say thank you to you for bringing this up, because as you're talking, it's like, wow, you're a very good teacher. I am learning. Like, thank you. I'm like true gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Um, okay, let's go in because we have the first one. We have Aries. And for you, Aries, Saturn is entering your 12th house coming March 2023. So a lot of it, the 12th house, is to do with letting go, and it is about actually letting go of structures, routines, trying to control everything and have everything organized. So this is kind of like the very, very almost contradictory what I'm saying, but this is what the 12th house does. Is it requires you to almost surrender to the higher forces or to life, whatever you wish to use, and allow everything to happen and know basically that it's going to be okay. And remember also 12th house is a lot to do with rest. So this is a two-way street here. Okay, maybe there are more lanes in that road, but mainly two avenues I see for you guys. It's either you're working behind the scenes and there's kind of like a lot of duties and responsibilities and it's really hard to rest, and the other side of that coin is it's almost like you're at the same time forced to organize your rest, sleep, every that type of kind of relaxation area of your life. It doesn't sound really fun, I know, but this is what Saturn wants for you to do. It kind of like forces you in the background, do your work there, it's fine, but at times you must let go of everything and you maybe can't even do as much as you would like to do. And master the act of resting, master also we can say spiritual practices and these types of areas. And another thing here is subconscious patterns. So whenever Saturn enters the 12th house, it's almost like you understand that there's something, I don't want to say wrong with you, but there's something stopping you. There's something limiting you. And it's really freaking hard to understand what it is. And Saturn kind of urges you to take time to release it. But again, it takes time. And it can get annoying and almost like angry. And why I can't let go of this. It needs your efforts. I think that these are the most important points for the sign of Aries. So again, I just want to say, Aries ascendant sun or moon, guys, it's okay to listen to.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I pick up for Aries during this time is that you're gonna have a bigger understanding of the long game. And having a moment with your impulses, like to really dive deep on the why, the big why. I find like Aries and like I'm hearing like leadership. Aries oftentimes is in like the leadership position. You're going first. You're always having to be vulnerable. And that's like one of your biggest strengths. And during this time, I feel like you won't necessarily have the answers of what your long game is and what your big why is, but it will come eventually. And it's like, yeah, what Ian had said earlier, patience.
Awesome.
That's what I feel for Aries.
Good, Aries. I hope you guys. Yeah, I think that it's the 12th house is one of the easiest place to actually have Saturn. So it's where the Saturn's house of joy is. So hopefully it won't be as difficult for you as the other signs. But okay, let's move on to Taurus. So Taurus, ascendant, sun, or moon. You will have this transit in your 11th house, and 11th house is almost like, from an ancient perspective, a natural house for Saturn. So in ancient times, Saturn rules 11th house. Now it's more like Uranus, depending on if you're using traditional, whatever you're using. But still, 11th house is not too bad, let's say, for Saturn, the heavy influence of Saturn. And the 11th house is a lot to do with your dreams, goals, long-term projects. So whenever Saturn enters that house, it's a lot of work on those areas. A lot of efforts need to be put there. Maybe that you start a big project there, and now is the time to really dig deep, and you get your hands greasy, so to speak, and go into the nitty gritty, and like make things happen, basically. Slowly, gradually, constantly work towards your goals. And at times it can make you feel like, oh no, I can't get anywhere. You want to give up. There's so much to do. There's so many duties, responsibilities, hard to do and go towards them. But you kind of have to go if you want to make it happen, because one of the things with Saturn is it doesn't really give anything if you don't put in the effort. So it takes your real own personal effort. 11th house also, sometimes it can also limit your ability to almost go towards these goals. Maybe there's something stopping you. Maybe there's rules, regulations in society that are kind of like geared towards stopping you from going towards that, or building that business, or whatever it is. That can happen as well. You're almost like there's some outer force that stops you to go, and now you still have to somehow find and make things work. 11th house also is a lot about friends and friendships. Now, whenever Saturn enters there, it's a lot to do with it can limit your relationships with friends, and even it can bring in problems, issues, some past issues with friends up to the surface. And these need to be hashed out, and very often some friends can leave because it's just so much for people to handle, and the heaviness is there. Maybe some of them are kind of like almost even turning mean, or there's a distance, there's a coldness between you and your friendship social circle. So that can happen as well. But it, like, the positive side of this is literally if both parties want to kind of like put in the efforts, then the relationship can actually evolve and mature and go on another level. Now the positive side is, like, some older people come into your life and they start to be your friends. That's like, let's say, the positive side of things. And maybe let's mention one more negative thing as well. It is kind of like the salary or the bonuses and the job, or salary and bonuses of the job. Or if you're working like a corporate job, or a career, let's say if you're working for someone, at times this Saturn it really wants you to work towards these bonuses, these salaries, and it can almost like limit them and make it harder for you to get the fullness of it, or what you're used to getting. And keep that in mind if you're maybe like thinking about, oh, why these are limited, or why is there a cut, for example. It can happen, and now, instead of like bitching and moaning about it, which you can do obviously, but you need to put in the efforts still to get something out of it, the situation.
Do you want to know like what's absolutely crazy? Is like, okay, I'm gonna show you like on the camera. Here's what I wrote down. I wrote down losing friends. I was like, immediately for Taurus, it was like, okay, there are going to be people walking out of your life, and that's a-okay, look at it and really open up those friendships and what they were for you and what you learned from them. And it's time to like just dig deep on that. That's okay. Like, you're going to meet new people. Start inviting in your spiritual family, inviting in new people that are more aligned with the path and the future that you want. I also was just feeling like there was going to be a lot of communication coming at you, like spilling your guts to someone, and there's just going to be like a lot of talking. It's like in that you're going to have to learn how to express yourself and explain yourself and your inner thoughts, because it's like things that you've been sitting on for a long time. You're going to have to be able to communicate about them. What else do I feel for Taurus? I don't know. It feels like there's going to be a specific like full moon at that around that time during this time, and that's a really good. It'll be a very good strong time to let go of a whole bunch of things. Um, yeah, and you'll get a lot out of that reading that, or sorry, doing that.
Good, good. Taurus is like it's whenever even I start talking about Saturn, it's like it's like I slow down and it's just
Well,
like so heavy.
I think it's hard for Taurus because of the stubborn nature of them. But it's like I don't feel like Taurus is stubborn necessarily just for kicks. Like, Taurus is stubborn because they don't want to make a wrong move. They don't want to like totally screw up their whole life. It's like, but you have to really deal with your fears, and you have to let go of those fears, because you can't really screw up your life. The only real like failure would be failure to learn.
That's another one of Saturn's, let's say, what it brings. It will bring lessons for all of us, and in the mentioned areas that we are going through, it will bring lessons. So if you don't,
Buckle up.
yeah, buckle up. If you don't take the lessons, if you don't learn the lessons, it's going to keep bringing. But anyway, let's move on. Gemini, ascendant, sun, or moon. So for you, it's the let's say the natural home house of Saturn where it's entering. So at least you got that 10th house for you guys, and it's a lot about work, career, responsibilities, and these social duties and responsibilities as well. So again, two streets and two avenues I see for some of you, and the first one is a lot of responsibilities, duties in your working career, corporate life, in business as well. If you have your own business, there's a huge heavy load to handle. Maybe even a stern boss who doesn't really command you for the efforts that you're doing, just really strictly needs you to mature and bring in the efforts. Now, if you do that for the next 2.5 years, you might get rewarded later as for a promotion, or maybe a business gets bigger. But during this 2.5 year period, you're going to need to put in the efforts and not really hope for praise, or even like immediately. It can happen that before the transit comes in, you can get a promotion, and that will lead to the duties and responsibilities, but the workload increases as well. And you need to follow rules whenever Saturn is in the 10th house, like the social rules. You can't jump ladders. You have to climb let's say, if your position needs this qualification, you need to get it. If your business needs this foundation built, you need to build it. You can't jump hoops. Now, some instances it can bring limitations to working as well. Maybe there's a dryness in a way, in a sense of positions available, careers available, jobs available, and you're kind of like hopping around, doing a job here, doing a job there, and it can be a little bit of a slower time in your working life as well. There's some outer limitation that is brought in that maybe doesn't allow you to work, or maybe there's restrictions, etc., etc. So that can happen. And also one of the things that happens in a 10th house Saturn is it's usually you need to help one of the parents. There's duties and responsibilities with one of the parents, or maybe there's the distance and coldness with one of the parents for Geminis. Okay.
Well, wild enough. Of course, again, I was feeling this feeling of dry. Like, you'll be so freaking thirsty for what it is that you want. But it's like, remember that you are looking for diamonds. You're not looking for amethyst. You're not looking for quartz. You are mining for diamonds. And that, like, don't stop until you get that, until you get there. I also feel like this is going to be a time where just like a little voice in the back of your mind is going to be doing very deep future contemplations. And I feel like this will be, it's like it's so deeply ingrained with your childhood. Like, you really are going to have to deeply pay attention to that, like why you are the way that you are and what future that you really do want. But yeah, it's going to feel dry, like a desert. Like there's nothing there, but truly there's everything there, and you are mining for diamonds.
Awesome. Yeah. Remember, with Saturn, you really need to mine. You really need to mine. And at first, you might find like rocks or something.
Just rocks. Not even a freaking, not a geode to be seen.
Basically. But okay, let's Cancer, Ascendant, Sun, or Moons. And you guys have it in the 9th house. So I would say there's a little bit of a debate around this. So usually Saturn does well in kind of like hidden and mutable houses, which the 9th house is hidden. Maybe 9th house isn't so hidden, but it's still a mutable house. Some people call it hidden. Anyway, whatever. Saturn sometimes does well here. I'm a little bit cautious of saying that. Let's keep it at that. Because I know how Saturn in the 9th house can really plague you. Let's put it that way. And one of the first things that can happen is you decide to take on a new area of a study, course, webinar, or go to the university. These types of things will need to put the efforts in higher education, or kind of evolving yourself in that way. That will mean a lot of duties, responsibilities first and foremost, but it also means that new teachers, mentors come into your life, and they can again be very strict, very stern, cold and distant, but they will give you the necessary tools in a almost like harsh way, or in a practical way. But it can seem sometimes there's not a lot of, let's say, emotional closeness. There is more like hard work, and you need to do this, and you need to make this happen. This is the thing that happens there. Lot to learn, lot of exam study. If you are already in a teaching role, now there are a couple of things that can happen. Is you might even get more students, more of a workload, more classes. Maybe you decide to put your own teachings out there, and that requires a lot of efforts. But the other side is, again, maybe something happens, maybe a restriction in society. You can't teach, you can't do it. There's less there. There's limitation there. Maybe the university is closed. That type of thing, or the institution where you're teaching. Now, the big part here is also your outlook on the future in life in general, like beliefs. When Saturn enters the 9th house, it can really mature you, yes, but the outlook on life in general for the next 2.5 years can be quite bleak at times. Yes, earthly and practical, but almost like dark. It can seem like there's no hope there really. Um, the you look outside and you see how things are in the world, and now everything seems so freaking pointless. There's nothing to really hang on to, and you know the politicians are doing this and the people are doing that. It kind of crashes you down. But the point here is to gather mastery over that and start to master and see the bigger picture of why all of this is happening. And that, if you start doing that, and if you start even reading some texts and understanding and learning and seeing these cycles, you will start to see like the bigger picture. This is one of the things the ninth house Saturn wants to teach you. And yeah, legal problems can happen. If you have legal problems in the during the ninth house transit, it can be that these are like long lasting and drag out a little bit. Again, do everything by the book if you find yourself in that situation.
Very interesting. Yeah, like what I feel intuitively is that this will be a time that will be very hard for cancers, because it's almost like it feels like it's going to go against your nature. Like everything will be against your first impulse. It's like it feels, the feeling that I feel is like you're driving in reverse, and you have to get really good at driving in reverse. You have to be able to look at your mirrors. You have to know all angles of your car so that you won't hit anything. Like then and like I also feel like it's going to be like a time of sacrifice, where it's like the things that you thought that you wanted in your life, the things that but it's not going to be a true sacrifice, because you're not really giving up anything that you don't want for your future. But it will feel like you're going to have to sacrifice something or multiple things. And I don't know what those things could be, but it could be anything, because it's going to apply differently to different people. I kind of ignored it earlier when I picked up on it too, but it's coming again where I hear like partnership, and it's like really either working really closely with someone or some people. Like it feels like small groups. Could also be like partnership, like romantic partnership. I feel like could come through at this time.
There you go, Cancers. There you go. But now, Leos, the kings of the zodiac. It's in your transit of Saturn is happening in your 8th house, Leo, ascendant, sun, or moon, and 8th house. Yeah. So I'm not loving this transit, guys. Because let's start with the more difficult ones for you, because 8th house is a lot to do with the most painful and like deepest of wounds that are, you know, let's say tucked away somewhere internally inside of you. And when Saturn enters that house, it starts to almost irritate those things. It can make it painful. It will require again your efforts, your actual physical, you know, going to a therapist, going to a guide, healer, these types of people, or doing these things yourself on you a lot more, repeatedly, in order for you to master these areas. And I want to say one thing to every sign. It's like there is no need to be scared of Saturn. Saturn, it doesn't help if you ignore Saturn. Saturn requires mastery over that area. This is one of the reasons it constantly comes to teach you, constantly comes to ask these questions of you. Now the other side of the coin is more material with the 8th house. It's a lot to do with, you know, your partner's resources, assets coming from other people, like clients, for example, banks, investors. lot of these areas. So again, you're required, there can be a limitation there. Maybe clients dry up for a second or for a moment, for a while even, and now you need to find and practically put into practice new ways of attaining clients, you know, getting them to basically pay you money. Sales is like not the wrong, it's a little bit the wrong word here, but it's a little bit associated with it as well. So keep that in mind. And also the areas of bookkeeping, investing your money into to like marketplaces, wherever there are pooled resources, and even managing like other people's resources, and even like these joint resources. It's a lot to do with mastering that. And yes, limitation can be there, and this is one of the reasons why you need to learn to master it better, or become a master of managing these things. And I mean, the intimacy side is the eighth house as well. It's a lot to do with the fifth house is a lot about like sexual intercourse. The eighth house is almost like a higher octave of that. Is yes, it can be sexual intercourse as well, but it's also like even physical intimacy, emotional intimacy. There can be a little bit less time for that with your partner if you already have a partner, but it's also, again, you need to organize it. You need to become better at it. You both need to kind of open up gradually, slowly, to one another, in order for the relationship to go to another level.
Yeah, I really love Leos. I think Leos are some of my favorite people on the planet. So what like what I really feel for you Leos out there is like it's like take this seriously. Like party, celebrate, whatever, do your thing up until this time, but really take this time seriously. Like celebrate up until the moment is what I hear. Because it's like it's gonna, if you really do, if you're really asking the universe for help and you really want to become your highest like expression, it's not going to be something that you're used to. It's going to feel like all the brightness is like not normal, like you normally have around you is like it's not there. Like the way that you shine will be different. And then the guidance that I was feeling is like to always remember through this period is that the sun shines from within. It's always in there. No one can ever take that away, but just to remember that through everything that you're going to be going through.
God, it's really important for Leos. Yeah, important what Mercedes just said, guys. Remember that. Uh, Virgos, Virgo ascendant, sun or moon. For you guys, seventh house. Now, this one is also a little bit tricky, I would say. As transit goes, it's a little bit of a heavier influence. It's in your house of relationships. So now it depends on where you are currently. If you're already in a relationship, then the relationship again can become a little bit more distant, can seem like work, can even feel like work. Oh my god, where is this going? So much effort. So is there any fun? No, there's only duties. Oh, there's something going on with your partner, or they are having a lot of duties, responsibilities on their shoulders, and this is one of the reasons why these issues are cropping up, or bringing or coming into your partnership. So that can happen in a romantic partnership, or that can even happen in a business partnership where a lot is demanded of you, or a lot is expected of you. Now, the other side of the coin is when you're not in a relationship. Now, this I've seen, probably I can count them if I started, but countless times with people having this transit. It's like almost disengaging from relationships. This like this vowing or something, whatever word I'm looking for, almost like swearing off relationships altogether. It's like, oh no, I don't want, these are relationships are only pain and heavy and hard, and I don't want anything to do with these things. This can happen, but like the actual goal of this transit for you is actually to master relationships. So this does, if let's say if you're dating or something, or maybe you're already dating and kind of like in it, it will require more effort. Like maybe you need to restructure your life, maybe they need to organize their life to accommodate the relationship. There's work and efforts involved, and if one of the parties doesn't want to put in the work and effort, Saturn again limits and destroys. Not destroys is too hard, but it can put the distance between the two of you, and it can it can almost like say, sure you want this, okay, you want this, work for this, basically is what I'm saying here. And you know, all of that applies to all sorts of deals, deal makings, negotiations, these sorts of areas as well. And I have to say, because seventh house is also like friendship, it's one-on-one relationships. So this can happen in some of your friendships as well. So 11th house is strictly friendships, but 7th house is one-on-one relationships. So business, marriage, kind of romantic, and you know, at times one-on-one friends. So that energy, that Saturn energy, creeps into these friendships as well. Take your time. Be okay with people leaving if they won't put in the effort, and if you won't put in the effort. This is the reason why they. And remember, they can actually. This is one of the most annoying parts of seventh house Saturn transit. The relationships will feel like work.
I think that's a key to life anyways. Is like, if you want someone in your life, they'd better be willing to, you know, go forward with you, regardless of what, like if it's a friendship or a relationship or whatever, these one-on-ones. For Virgo, during this time, I feel like Saturn is really going to be challenging you. So it's ideal for you to lean into your healing nature, what you're and understanding deeper what that actually is, because there are all kinds of aspects of Virgo. Healing is one of those aspects. So that's something that I think could really open up, especially like as Ian's saying, like these one-on-one relationships. Like, how are you going to heal yourself within this relationship? Also really picking up on like feet and like going get pedicures, like really taking care of your feet. And also like humility. But I'm not thinking, it doesn't feel like humility, just like, oh yeah, I'm a humble guy. You know, it's deep humility, very deep, like on a level that no one's going to understand. Like you're going to be in it and you're just going to be like, wow, I don't even get this.
Pisces is feet, and Saturn is a lot of work. So, but what the hell did I want to say? Can't remember anymore. But
Oh,
anyway.
but you must. Whatever it was so important. Did it have anything to do with humility?
Yes, thank you. So, usually when a person needs to say that they're humble or I'm a humble guy, probably not. Okay, guys, let's go. Next sign is we have the so humble Libras, but okay. Libras have this Saturn transit in the 6th house. So the 6th house is one of like the 12th house and the 6th house for Saturn transit are like mostly considered the best houses. We can say almost the best house. Like having Saturn anywhere isn't super comfortable, but if we want to find positives or optimisms with this transit, let's say that it's okay in the 6th house. Now, it can increase again your workload, your everyday workload, which is also your everyday routines. You need to drive somewhere, you need to get things done, even in your home as well. You need all these duties and responsibilities can be almost given to you. You know, maybe there's a kid in the kid born, or you know, something happens in your life that kind of changes your daily routines, and now you need to restructure, reorganize, refigure out what's the best and most optimal, almost like minimal way of operating. That is what Saturn wants to do. And again, it will get so much you need to do it, Libra, so you can't really escape it. Now, the weird thing with Saturn in the sixth house is loans and mortgages. I've seen this very often, like a person almost something again happens in their life and they need to take out a mortgage, a loan, and for that 2.5, at least for that period, that is kind of like almost like weighing on them a little bit. But it also, you know, it brings in opportunities in life as well. So it's not all bad, but it can make it, oh, it's there, oh, I need to pay it, you know. So would like it's not always that you need to take it. There are sometimes other ways around it to organize, to make it happen. But be prepared if you are put in that situation that this might happen. And some, you know, a lot, not all of us want to take on mortgages and loans, but this is one of the transits where you can actually. Now, also a very important part is your health. In this, with the sixth house here, is because Saturn enters into the sixth house. It tells you, oh, here are the duties, here are the lot of responsibilities in your daily life. Now, this can very often lead to, you know, health issues if you don't manage it. This is all a part of it. Managing routines, diets, eating habits, health habits, exercising habits. Again, you might be limited with your time. Again, maybe there's so much other stuff at work going on that you don't even have the time to exercise, to eat properly. Saturn says, you need to organize, you need to restructure. These are important things, you need to do them. Remember that, guys. Don't shy away, otherwise Saturn will bring these health issues, unfortunately. Lots of duties and responsibilities with pets as well.
Shut the front door, Ian. Pets. So yeah, like I'm, you know, what I feel is like, and I just have to say it is like, enjoy your time with your pets now, because I feel like, you know, we're coming into a time in history where not everyone is game for playing. So there are going to be a lot of pets that will be saying goodbye. And yeah, because I feel lots of pause, which is really interesting. Yeah, and then also with Libra, I was really feeling like the sense of everything piling on. Like everything is just going to be piling. So, you know, the guidance there is like, start now. Start now. Don't just freaking wait till March. Like if there's crap, like you've got to take your recycling out on the, you know, on the regular, like start doing these things now. Start, you know, being proactive and making sure that, you know, you're really like paying attention to the things that you have, I don't want to say control of, but some influence over right now. So that could be starting, you know, to pay attention to your food, your diet right now. And then there's something in here also about like, I hear like in the mastery of this will bring in like, I just feel this like very big golden energy. I always feel this with Libra, like Libra is like a gold. And it's like, we always want to be connecting with the creator, but I feel like mastery in these areas will bring gods and deities and like high masters to you to teach you. So like, you know, prepare for that if it happens.
Yeah, the gold is very often in these very mundane and daily tasks, guys, and if we master them, we are ready for these higher realms. I think this is very often what I see with like spiritual people who are gifted and connected with things. Is like you very often want to immediately go into the higher and no, these earthly things don't even matter, but these actually matter, especially in this. And it's important to master and be on top of these things, and then you can go and meditate and do all these
Totally.
fancy
It feels
special
like
things.
it feels like a big groundwork laying time for these higher things, but you have to build that foundation first.
Guys, Scorpios, ascendant, sun or moon. Now, fifth house transit. As someone who's going through this personally right now, God, I'm not. This is one of. It's heavy, guys. It's fifth house is because fifth house is a lot to do with joy and self-expression and business as well, your own business as well, and all these creative projects. But Saturn really wants to suck this joy out of these things and wants to limit your ability to deal with these things and get these things. But it's a matter of organizing yourself to have fun and organizing yourself to move towards your business goals. And if you heard the words coming out of my mouth, organizing, having fun, it's not really good. But if you don't do that, it will limit you so much that you won't even have these small windows of having and enjoying a little bit of things. Now it very often can bring a child into the picture as well, because again fifth house is children, so it's a lot about duties, and when a child is born, a lot of duties and responsibilities are pushed on the person, or the person hopefully takes them on with their free will. Now again, restructure, reorganize. If you're working towards a business, it will take many reiterations. Like you moving towards one path and you're like, oh, this is not working, make this better. Oh, this is not working, make this better. Constantly. Now the fifth house is a lot to do with sex, dating, romance. Now Saturn can limit these. Yes, it can bring limitations. Maybe you again want to give up. Oh, there's no good fish in the sea, or whatever the excuse is. But this is like almost like the opposite of what you kind of like. I can't say you need to do, but if you want to, meet somebody during a Saturn fifth house transit, you need to go on a lot of dates, a lot of days. Install a lot of those apps and just like go put in the effort, go on this physically, and a lot of those aren't going to work out, basically is what I'm saying as well. And if it starts to work out, then the other party doesn't have time, or you don't have time, or you're working on your business and you just don't have the time for it. So there's a lot of things there that will limit these things for you. I think I've said again, one thing I didn't say is it can this internal almost like joy, this self-expression that we have, it can be a little bit dampened. Let's say it's hard to, even when you're having fun, it seems like work. It's almost like such a it's a dampening there.
Okay. um
Looking forward to this.
Yeah, as you're talking, I almost was like dissociating because I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I have actually already given up on, like, see ya. What I was picking up on for Scorpio during this time is to make smart purchases and to think of all your purchases as investments. If you're buying something to satisfy some kind of inner like hunger or whatever, make sure it's aligned for your future. Don't just make all these like crazy purchases. Like really think about the things that you want to buy.
I want to say one more thing after you said it because I forgot about, because fifth house is risky investments and gambling. Saturn doesn't do well here. It doesn't do well at all. So be really careful if you do these things, or if you have to do these things. If possible, limit yourself doing these things.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of tricksters around. This is Saturn's gift to you. This is a gift. Every time you encounter a trickster, it's like, wow, thank you. Thank you for teaching me that I'm actually really freaking smart and I can see through this. Anytime your bullshit detector is going off, listen to that. Because like this is getting you in touch with your inner genius, like your inner Einstein, your inner like genius channel that you can like be and have.
Awesome.
There you go.
There you go. Guys, we're already at Sagittarius. Rising, ascendant, sun or moon. Now, it's an interesting one because you have Saturn in the fourth house transit going on, or will be going on, and this is a very emotional house. And Saturn is a very practical planet, very earthly, grounded planet. So there is a opposite energy kind of going on, and usually why Sagittarius are very often very happy people is because they have Pisces in the fourth house. So they're, kind of like, oh, these happy people emotionally. But now Saturn goes into that house. Definitely hard to feel emotionally happy whenever Saturn is transiting the fourth house, and this will have you go into areas of, okay, so I'm not feeling safe, I'm not really feeling secure, there's no kind of roots anywhere, there's no foundations, maybe there's maybe a little lacking of foundations. Where can I feel safe? What is this place? Where can I put my home, or where can I create my home? A lot of you will be even like building homes, or going to restructure even homes to feel safer, to feel more secure, and have that safety and that foundation in your life. But there's another layer here to this as well. It's a more like an emotional layer where these emotional, if something happened to you in your childhood, for example, maybe there was something going on that wasn't really good. Now it starts to bubble up, and it bubbles up usually from a place of shit. It's hard for me to feel happy. Why is that? And it's a lot about that emotional mastery of how and what do I need to even feel happy, and is there something that is limiting me or stopping me to feel the security and happiness and safety. And very often it does lead to the places of childhood. Something happened. Again, I think fourth house is Saturn transit is really good for therapy. You need to find the right person, obviously, but it requires time, it requires effort, and it's almost like you have to learn how to be happy, and at the same time maybe taking off or picking off or plucking off some things that were painful for you. Difficulties in relationships with parent, very often mother or family, and there can be a distance there as well, a coldness there. But it's again there for you to decide. Do I want to put in the efforts? Are they putting in the efforts? How are we growing as a family unit? And I say this with a heavy heart, obviously, but at times it can lead to, like, after the transit is done, just like full blown distance because there's so many issues and problems with the family. But at times, when you put in the effort, you put down the boundaries that you need, and they do the same. It can actually lead to a much stronger relationship. Now, Some other things to mention: duties and responsibilities with the family in general. So you might need to help them. There's reconstruction going on at somebody's house. You need to go there. Maybe it's just a lot of duties within the home, and you need to fix these things again. Constantly fix this thing, fix another thing, fix here. Again, repeats and repeats. But if you do that, you will come through this transit with a much safer and secure environment.
Could there also be like distance with a parent or grandparent or something because they're on the other side also?
Sometimes it does happen. Saturn can bring that. Usually, though, I would say there needs to be something else in the natal chart. Most likely that is also triggering it. So that's where the distance can come. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cause it's funny. Cause I was like in picky, like tuning into like Sag during this time was like, it's like I see you skipping along like happy and woo, but it's like almost delusional in this way, like, and it's this feeling of special, like this special feeling of who I am is like, but that's kind of like in your own mind, it's this like delusion that you've created. So I think Saturn's going to be knocking on the door of that delusion. And I really feel like it's important, especially for Sagittarius, to like book healings and book like energy workers, astrologers. Make sure that you know for your own astrology chart what's going to happen during this time. Like book a clearing or some kind of energy work or an astrology reading or all of it, because it's like I feel like you're going to get a lot of answers during this time, as well as you just plain need it because you're not normally doing these things. And then it's like I feel that there's going to be this moment where the glass shatters and you start seeing life, the reality of how it is, of how it actually is, and not just for yourself but for everyone. It's like you tune into like I get like the magnetics of the earth, like in this deeper way. I don't know, it's really difficult to describe because it feels so whole and it feels so fulfilling. So like don't be afraid of this. Just make sure that you do what you need to do.
It's an emotionally maturing time as well. But you, like Mercedes says, do get yourself help, and like take it as a long journey or longer journey. It takes time. It takes time to emotionally mature. I don't know.
Is
One
is
tongue
this
twister.
a fire sign thing? Like are fire signs generally like prone to not paying attention to the emotions, or like what would you say is a fire sign emotion tie?
It depends a lot on the other things in the chart. So if I say like yes or no, sometimes they have a moon in somewhere. Maybe they have moon in the first house at the same time, and they're kind of emotionally very in tune and sensitive and stuff like that. But our so basically, you're asking me if fire signs are really not connected to their feelings or emotions usually.
You don't have to be controversial.
Like Leos are super private. Leos are actually, with their emotional lives, Leos are super private.
Hmm.
They have a deep connection, but it's very private, and kind of like very almost very few people know what's actually going on there.
Hmm.
Sagittarius, I mean, I wouldn't say that's too bad, but there's almost like this. There can be almost like a neglect of that area. That I do see for Sagittarius. Aries is. I would say Aries is usually could be one of the best out of the, let's say, the fire signs. If we're kind of like ranking them, that is connected to their emotion. But it really depends, I would say, from the whole chart.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's fair. Like that applies with everything. I just I like making blanket statements and being general.
That's good for some things. What are we? We're at Capricorn now, guys. So 3 more to go. Yes, we're at Capricorn, Ascendant, Sun, or Moon. So for Capricorns, it's in the 3rd house. So 3rd house is not too bad actually for a Saturn transit, and it's a lot about looking at the. Let's start with the skills, left brain skills. 3rd house has a lot to do with these, and Saturn really wants you to look at them and see, oh, are these still good? Are these still useful? Or do I need more? Do I need to learn something in order to be better at my job, at my business, or something like that? And it takes time to learn a new skill. So you need a plan. The best way here to actually do what Saturn requires of you is a master of a new skill, is make a plan and organize and keep up every day, even if it's 5 minutes, do it, and you know 2.5 years you got it. A lot to do with also communication, writing, speaking, teaching, and also I would say sales and how we sell ourselves. All of these areas require mastery, and with Saturn there's something to be said about not wanting to do it. It's almost like you own a business and you can see, my sales skills need improving, and Saturn enters the 3rd house and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. But there's almost like no other way to do it. You have to become a master of it. You have to learn to write copy. You have to write blog post or even engage with people, in direct communication. These are the areas you also need to master. Now, again, it's a quite a practical house in a way. It's a lot to do with these everyday skills as well, and a lot to do with driving. And whenever Saturn is in the 3rd house, there can be a lot of like short trips, a lot of driving around next town, here, this town, constant, and it can be like overwhelming in the sense of, oh, again, too much. Now, the problems also can crop up with relatives, brothers, sisters that are giving me duties, extra duties with these people, or with neighbors and people in the local environment and teams that you are a part of. There can be problems or a lot of duties and things expected of you. And one big important thing is people not hearing what you have to say, or not understanding you, or even constantly interrupting you. Saturn in the third house. That is annoying part. The most difficult part, I think, with Saturn in the 3rd house is like the thoughts, because Saturn can bring it's almost like overly earthly and practical mindset and thinking, constantly thinking about work, career. But Saturn is also fears, so there can be like a little bit of a fearful mindset there, and you have to practice your thinking with Saturn in the 3rd house transit. Really start to observe and acknowledge what are the repetitive thoughts that you're constantly thinking.
That is a very good point for everyone, but also Capricorns. What I feel for Caps is that you will feel like you have eagle eyes at this time. You will feel like you are seeing literally freaking everything from the highest point of view that you can possibly see, which is amazing. Good job. You probably worked really hard to get there anyways. The other thing is like I see you shifting blocks. Like it's like you've created this tower out of Lego, and now you're like, oh, actually, this block goes here and this block goes here. And actually, I need to change these ones. And then the foundation will look different. And it's like who you are is going to be shifted and different because you're switching all these different blocks and where you've placed them originally. And I feel like, yeah, like the eagle eyes, and you're going to be seeing from mountaintops. Like it's like I just get this such a lift for Capricorns. Not to say it's not going to be difficult, because shifting blocks is like, that's hard. You have to see it first and you have to really be honest with yourself. I really get that, like, expressing yourself through humor is really going to alleviate a lot of miscommunication, because when you make people laugh, they're going to think about you differently. They're going to feel happier.
Yeah, Saturn in the third house is also very sarcastic humor, so you can use that. just just don't be too hard on others. Just be aware that others can say almost like at times these mean things to you as well, and this can hurt you with words and written things. But okay, we're at Aquarius, guys, and this you have it in the second house. Saturn transit Aquarius, ascendant Sun or Moon. This is a little bit of an annoying transit, I must add. Second house is all about money, how we make money, what's in our wallet, the possessions we have. It's a very practical house. That's one of the reasons it's almost like a little bit of a good thing. But Saturn can here limit the incomes at times, and you will have to learn how to restructure, how to really get along with money, how to use money in a wise, structured way. This does unfortunately entail sometimes the incomes lessening, or there's limiting there, or there's a cutbacks, or something happens there where you're kind of like, oh, okay, so now I have to manage this. And let's say if you're used to really going wild with your money, like Saturn in the second house wants you to dial back on the wildness. Remember that even how you invest it, how you handle it, like if you're used to investing in all these riskier things, it's better to actually slow down and put the things and the money into something more tried and true, something more like proven and tested in the hands of time. Won't make you super rich, but it will yield much better results than just going crazy and wild and buying all this stuff. Again, even if you're spending and you're buying some things, you need to kind of restructure, rethink, and understand what it is that I'm actually putting my money into and what am I actually buying. Now the second part of this is a lot to do with your internal worth, and then that internal worth, that is your worth, like self-worth, but it's also like your worth in the marketplace. So when Saturn is in the second house, it can seem like it, like, am I worth it really? Do I have the skills? Can I ask this much? Can I charge this amount of money? These types of questions start cropping up, and you almost like have to prove very practically, very, very materially to yourself and obviously to others that I'm actually worth this. So if you can do that, and maybe even if you can raise it up in some way, your worth some way, then you can ask later on. But there's almost like this fear of asking what I'm actually wanting to ask for my services or my business or my products, and it's because the fear is there. I will ask for less. That's the balance, or that's the kind of like the dynamic you have to navigate with Saturn in the second house.
Very interesting, because I was feeling a lot about time, like time perception for Aquarius is going to be quite strong. And the sensation, like the feeling I get is like I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Like you're always going to be feeling like you're almost there because it's like right on the other side of that veil. Like you can see kind of the shape of whatever it is that you're going for, but you're always in this sense of almost there, like you haven't quite arrived. And it's like becoming aware of time. When are the days that you feel like the day moves very quickly? Like where are you in your mind for that? And when the day moves like freaking molasses, where are you, like where are your thoughts in your mind for that time period? And then I also really feel, because all of these things are going to be super like just dry and dense during this period, 2.5 years, that's quite a long time. um it's like you want to plan a vacation. Keep your like thoughts on afterwards and plan some type of trip, some type of something. You don't have to put money towards it, you don't have to do anything, but like in your mind, open it up to like, where am I going to go after this? What am I going to do?
Awesome. And now we have the final sign, Pisces. Pisces, ascendant, sun, moon. Guys, for you, Saturn is entering you. So, I mean, it's not super easy having Saturn in the first house. Let me just say that. And there's an overall sense of heaviness can come over you. There's new duties, responsibilities entering your life in some shape or form. You need to take them on. Um, Sometimes it can be internal, sometimes it can be external, but there is a sense of like maturation, definitely, and it needs to happen. It's almost like you need to get your shit together in a lot of areas, maybe in all areas of your life, and that can seem heavy. It can seem a lot to take, but like the best thing I think for you to do for this 2.5 period. I know how Pisces loves plans and organization, but in this case, no, you don't. But very few Pisces actually. They're very depending on the whole chart again, but most don't. Let's put it that way. And it's still best to have a general like outlook of what you want to achieve, where you want to go, how you want to organize your life moving forward. And it's important to do, because if there's some duties and responsibilities get almost like thrown at you or put on you, then you're going to be almost like physically drained a little bit. There can be less energy. um, even like the most negative outlook here is like there's fear. I don't know, like where, what, who. There can be a lot of fear, but if you organize, okay, but this is what I actually want to do, these are the avenues I actually want to follow, now it starts to get better. And like I wanted to say this, if some sort of duty or responsibility gets put on you, you really need to almost like take it on. And usually it's something you can't really say no to. And don't be like too discouraged if you start seeing gray hair or wrinkles in your faces. Be okay. Be okay. That's part of aging, and Saturn in the first house can actually do that. What else do I want to say? Yeah, accountability. It's like really, really think about that. What you say, you must do. What you promise, you must deliver. These types of things are really important with Saturn in the first house as well. And I mean, Godspeed to you, Pisces.
Think I'm in denial. um Yeah, like what I get for Pisces, it's like every weakness that you have, every like chink in the armor is going to be revealed. It's going to be revealed to those around you. It's going to be revealed to you. And it's going to make you feel very vulnerable. And that's okay. You're gonna make it through. I'm like pep talking myself basically. But yeah, it's like because it's going to be the removal of these things to have a much stronger armor. Like your feelings are going to be less hurt after this period of time. Like Pisces, I know my feelings get hurt all the time. And then the inner voices, the voices that tell you certain things, it's like there's going to be actually much more differentiation between all of them, because the wounds, the scars, the hurts, all of those things are going to become less because you will have to look at them. You will have to pay attention to them. The other thing that I was really feeling too is like aunts and uncles, and family matters. But aunts and uncles in particular, because I think that there's a very strange relationship between niece, nephew, aunt, uncle, and how you can observe your aunts and your uncles in relation to your parents and maybe see them in a different way because they grew up with your parents, and you look at the partner that they chose, and you look at all the different things about your aunts and your uncles.
That is good advice. I feel like we really went into Saturn here because
Yeah,
it even feels a little heavy, you know.
it
It's
does.
but it's okay, guys. If you're listening to this, Saturn is supposed to feel like this. It's you know, I was just thinking about this today. Like Saturn, Pluto, these transit, even Uranus and Neptune, like these outer planet transits, these things take ages, and usually they are the hardest. Yes, some of them hold, you know, all of them hold nuggets of gold and moments of gold in them, but it's a lot of just hard work, heaviness sometimes, and that's a huge part of what life
Yeah.
consists of as well. So you kind of have to do it.
But it reminds me of the quote, like Joe Rogan talks about it a lot, this quote where it's like, what is it like? Soft men create hard times create what?
Hard
Strong
men,
men,
hard men.
hard
Yeah.
men, and then hard men create soft times. Or no,
Yeah,
how
basically,
does it go?
basically it is.
Anyways, go ahead.
Basically it is because you know what did I want to say about this? Because if like the point of the quote is if you're putting in the work, if you're doing the work, these difficult times actually turn into good times later on. But if you're like in those good times or soft times and you're just like letting completely go and just like you know enjoying yourself to the brink of you know nihilism or whatever it is, you know, it creates these very difficult times again where you need to become stronger again. But like the point is, in my mind, is to enjoy, yes, enjoy the soft times, the good times, but keep working, keep making things, keep building things, keep building the foundation and the strength of your emotions, feelings, your mind, your every part of you, because you know life goes like this. It doesn't only go like this. You know, it's just
Oh
it
yeah.
does all these things.
And like this is where you learn over time, like when you are growing spiritually or otherwise, it's like you have to learn to stay in neutral most of the time. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean don't be happy or
Mm-mm.
don't be sad or whatever, but neutrality as a place to reside as home will bring you less pain and suffering over time.
Yeah.
I personally feel. I'll let you know when I'm there, but
it's a good place to be. Hard to get there sometimes.
Hmm. So Saturn in Pisces, like, I mean, regardless of what's going to happen, I know it's going to be hard. I just had I'm just going through still my Saturn return in my chart. It's as much as it's been difficult. And I think this has probably been the most difficult year of my life. But now I don't want to say like a hardened soldier, but I at least have new skills and new outlooks and new things because I did go inside and I paid attention, which I'm grateful for. And I'm always grateful to have the people around me that whenever I can't do it for myself, that they, help lift me up or whatever it is.
I think that's a good way. That's a good way of wrapping this one up.
Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna like really go that deep into all of them, so that's cool. I'm glad. Like, I hope everyone who listened, got a lot out of it. Even if you listen to all of the signs, not just your own, like I think it will help you help your friends. It will help you help, yourself, and make sure you listen to your sun, your moon, and your rising because it's gonna like you have all three things in your chart somewhere. So you know, you need it all. It's a bigger picture. It's a bigger tapestry of life.
Yeah, guys. Hope this helps. Hope you, let's say, take on the lessons of Saturn, and you roll up your sleeves and do the work. And let's keep on building and creating and making things. It will take us a little bit of time to get out of this situation where we're at, but now the cycles are starting to move upwards again, which means we're gradually getting out of this mess as a society as well. So slowly but surely onwards.
We got this.
We got this.
Cool. So yeah, if you want to work with either of us, if you want to work with Ian, he's got his website. What's your website?
It's just my name.com, ianaltazar.com.
And I've got my website, themercedesann.com, and with an E. Sign up for our newsletters, do that. Leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on this, on these topics, on the topic of Saturn. And if you want to give us any suggestions of what you want to be hearing cosmic adults, chat about, even with our guests or whatever, let us know. We want to hear from you. We love this shit.
Yeah, guys. Let us know, and see you again soon in the next episode.
See ya.